Oh. Like a page marker. Yeah, maybe someone's using it as a page marker. I'm just going to check to see whether there's 3 editions of this. So this is, what volume is this? Volume 2. Okay, there's a 3rd volume. This is the 2nd edition. No, it's okay. We've got 2 of the 3 here. The first printing in 1970 was just 2 volumes. And then it was printed in various forms after that. It was printed in softbound in 3 volumes. And then it was printed in 3 big hardbound volumes. And then in then 2 softbound volumes. It was going backwards and forwards like this, between 2 and 3, hard, soft. So the first one was a hardbound, 2 big editions, 1970. This is 1974 printing of the original, same size, same color prints, everything. Many lovely lovely paintings, which you probably don't find in the new one. Paintings like this, which are really beautiful. Very colorful, beautiful paintings, very simplistic paintings, but very attractive, I tell you. Maybe because in those days the books were going mostly to hippies. So maybe it was even more attractive to the hippies when they're a little psychedelic, a little bit simplistic and colorful, you know. I don't know.
This is the book that Ram Vijay distributed one day, 1,000 of them on the parking lot.
Not Sri Ram Vijay. Ram Vijay Prabhu. Prabhu, yeah. 1,001, what, part 1? 1 or what?
Well, I don't know. Krishna book.
Different volumes, or maybe...
You would give 10 of them to the same person.
10 of the same book. Distribute them to your friends. This is a great Christmas present for your friends. The best Christmas present for your friends, yeah. Yeah, he was amazing in book distribution. If only somehow or another he could have stuck with it. Sometimes the false ego gets the better of us. Huh? So we're just going to read from somewhere here. This is volume 1 and this is volume 2. We're going to go to volume 2 and we're going to open it. Are you ready? Dang, there we go. Wow. Listen to this. Woo-hoo. This is powerful. We were reading this just now, actually. This is chapter 12 of volume 2. Krishna book. Srila Prabhupada loved his Krishna book. So this is Uddhava. Uddhava is in Vrindavan. He's come to deliver something to Vrindavan. What is he bringing? A letter, a message, delivery of the message of Krishna to the gopis. When the gopis saw Uddhava, they observed that his features almost exactly resembled the features of Krishna. And they could understand that he was a great devotee of Krishna's. His hands were very long, and his arms were just like the petals of the lotus flower. It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, that's what it says. Usually you hear it the other way around. His arms were very long, and his hands were like the petals of a lotus flower. But here it says, his hands were very long, and his arms were just like the petals of the lotus flower.
I think it's a mistake.
It may be, I don't know, but what can we say? That's been imprinted. I don't know if the present one has the same thing or not. He was dressed in yellow-colored garments and wore a garland of lotus flowers. His face was very beautiful, having achieved the liberation of Sarupya. What is Sarupya? Quite easy, that one. Rupa. Rupa means? Form. So Sarupya, type of liberation, which means?
He attained his eternal form.
Similar form to Krishna. A similar form to Krishna. Of course, all eternal forms are Satchidananda, but they're not all similar to Krishna. You can have a form of a bumblebee, or you can have a form of a peacock or a tree, or something like that. No? Did you look it up on yours?
His eyes.
Same?
His eyes.
Huh?
His eyes were like lotus petals.
His eyes? Maybe I read it wrong, did I?
His arms were very long and his eyes were just like the petals of...
Well, it says here, his hands were very long and his arms were just like the petals of the lotus flower. Funny, huh? Huh?
They heard it wrong.
Yeah. I mean, you should never change that, even though it says differently in the Bhagavatam. It should never be changed. It's a maha aparad to change it. But that's what a lot of people say.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
The one that we're typing.
We all know that, but that doesn't matter. They could have been on LSD for all we're concerned. The fact is, it's been printed. Some people are like that. They can't, what to do.
What do you think, Maharaj? Is that right?
Well, if it's different to what it says in the Bhagavatam, and it wasn't translated by Prabhupada, but if that's what it said, I can't relate it. I mean, it definitely is. Whatever it says here, and I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned it. But anyway, I'll say no more. He was dressed in yellow-colored garments. Oh, we read that. Having achieved the liberation of Sarupya, and having the same bodily features as the Lord, Uddhava looked almost like Krishna. In Krishna's absence, the gopis had been coming dutifully to visit Mother Yasoda's house early in the morning. They knew that Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda were always grief-stricken, and they had made it their first duty to come and pay their respects to the most exalted elderly personalities of Vrindavan. Seeing the friends of Krishna, Nanda and Yasoda would remember Krishna himself and be satisfied. And the gopis also would be pleased by seeing Nanda and Yasoda. When someone's in a distressful condition, one of the main reliefs is not, of course, ultimately is to relieve the actual cause of the distress, but how does one somewhat alleviate that distress when a person is distressed? They can't necessarily completely remove the cause, but how can we alleviate? That means reduce the distress. What do? They do different things maybe, but what is one of the most personal things that they would do?
Ask about the problem.
Well, say you know some friend or somebody, family member or anyone in distress, what would you do? It depends on your relationship, of course, but let's look positively. Go and see them, right? Try to relieve their distress. You may not be able to completely do it because the cause of the distress may be the loss of a dear one, right? Or they may be terribly sick, just like now many people. Of course, the situation is different. They're in IC with coronavirus. You can't go and see them even if you want to. But in principle, that's the thing they really want. They want to be with the people they think they love, isn't it? Their children. Even at the time of death, people like to be surrounded by their family members, their friends. Usually, it kind of like helps to take their suffering away from where it is, and they feel some comfort is the word they use, comforting. So similarly, the gopis, here going to the house of Nanda Maharaj in the morning to try to bring some comfort to Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj, because they're grief-stricken, and we all know why they're grief-stricken. Why? Pretty simple question that, but we're going to expand on it. Pardon? Krishna left. He appeared to have left Vrindavan with the promise. He was coming straight back after killing a few demons, but he hasn't come back yet. He's still there. Now this is taking place when Krishna is still in Mathura. Now Mathura is only just down the road. It's not much further than Akiye. Right? Maybe Valence, as far as Valence. It's not far away, 20 kilometers or something. It's not very far. You think, what's the problem, Just, you could walk it in a few hours, just go and see him. What's your problem? You know what I mean? He's not far away. But of course there's a different dimension, and it's a dimension of consciousness. The residents of Vrindavan are residents of Vrindavan because of a state of loving consciousness to Krishna. They don't fit into Mathura. It's a different mood, totally different mood. So they're grief-stricken because Krishna appears to have wound up his pastimes in Vrindavan, at least from the external point of view. And now he's performing pastimes of a different nature in Mathura, with a different set of devotees, various devotees in Mathura. So they're grief-stricken. It's like the same with any of us. When we're having, with people we do things with, we have a lot of fun, or we achieve things, or something like that. And then when they're gone, we feel grief, we get very attached, and then when they're gone, how do we feel? How do we feel? Isn't it? It can be even a little thing. I know even if a devotee leaves the temple, sometimes the temple managers feel really grief-stricken. Grief-stricken. It's like, you've lost part of your body almost, It's attachment, and maybe there's healthy and unhealthy attachments, but in this case it's healthy because their grief-stricken consciousness is due to their intensive attachment to Krishna, or a devotee of Krishna. When a pure devotee leaves the world, or even leaves your temple, devotees would cry. During Prabhupada's time it was like devastating when Prabhupada would leave. Especially in New York, when Prabhupada left New York in 1966, at the end of, or beginning of 67, having just established a little Krishna conscious center in New York, and then he left for San Francisco. They never dreamed that he was ever going to leave. He thought the Hare Krishna was, this was all it was, a little tiny storefront in New York with the Swami. And that was it. He was never going to go anywhere else. Or a parent, when the son or daughter leaves home, it's like unbearable almost. It's so, maybe exceptions to the rules, but generally speaking, that's the mood. So they're feeling totally grief-stricken, and the neighbors and the friends will come around and try to console you, and so on and so forth, and family members. Now, the situation in this world is a reflection of that. We are as the residents of Vrindavan are feeling grief-stricken because Krishna appears to have left. It's the other way round here, everything's upside down. We are grief-stricken because we have left. It's kind of the other way round. Krishna's still here. He's still there, he hasn't gone anywhere, he's still there. Here, where, whatever. But we have tried to we're trying to leave, we've gone away. And thus we're grief-stricken. People may get used to it, as a person who's grief-stricken gets used to their life. If we had to stay in lockdown ad infinitum, I guess people would get used to it. Some people would object, so many different emotions would come out, but you'd have to take it, it's like it or lump it. And similarly, things may change. People get used to it usually, and they kind of accept, but it's not what they want. They're not happy with it. They get used to being grief-stricken. It becomes your norm. But we're all, in a sense, in that position in this world due to separation from Krishna. We're feeling the pangs of material existence. It's the other way around. It's in forgetfulness of Krishna, not in remembering him. Everyone in this world is forgetting Krishna. They want to forget Krishna. Isn't it? Isn't it? Everybody wants to... They're not consciously thinking like that. But the result of their wanting to forget Krishna is therefore we're covered by the material energy, and we don't even take him into account. We don't accept him at all. Just to give an example, one young lad who is visiting right now, his grandmother got kicked out of the church because she said Krishna's God. His grandmother, one young boy, said Krishna's God. His grandmother said in the church. They banned her from the church. He said Krishna's God, he's not God. So she got literally banned from the church. Elderly lady, been going all her life. He said Krishna's God, she told the priest. She got banned from the church. Amazing. People don't want Krishna in this world. They don't want him. They just don't want him. He's just a stone idol. They don't want him, Even if he was a stone idol, that's pretty far out. If he actually, I thought he died fast. No, he's a stone. What is he? You don't know. They want to keep him out of their lives, So the gopis are opposite. They're trying to forget Krishna because they know that this is causing them so much harm, so much pain. But they can't forget him for a moment. Like lovers sometimes. The boy leaves or something. The girls can't get that boy out of her heart. It's like impossible. And she's suffering like anything. So similarly, the residents of Vrindavan, they knew that Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda were always grief-stricken, and they made it their first duty. Nanda and Yasoda to go and see them. Seeing Nanda and Yasoda would remember Krishna when they saw the friends of Krishna, the gopis, the gopas, the other cowherd boys and cowherd girls. They would remember Krishna. Some solace is there. Of course, it's still not enough. And the gopis also would be pleased by seeing Nanda and Yasoda. Everyone reminding everyone of Krishna. Like that, when Prabhupada's absent, we like to sit around and some devotees, they'll tell pastimes of Srila Prabhupada, isn't it? You never met him, but you hear these pastimes and you can kind of begin to feel his presence there. On the spiritual platform, on the material platform, it's like an empty hole because nothing fills it up. It's just grief. But in the spiritual platform, even remembering Krishna is so ecstatic experience of different kinds of variety of loving relationships with Krishna. They're feeling such bliss just remembering Krishna, although it appears to be also a kind of a grief-stricken mood, and after a while sometimes they don't stop talking about Krishna. This is, they become emotionally disturbed almost. But because they're always absorbed in Krishna. They try to forget, but they can't forget because there's nothing else. What are they going to remember if they don't remember Krishna? There's nothing else on their menu. Right? Is there anything else to remember? Huh? Anything else to talk about? In our world, there's plenty to talk about. Plenty of temptations. We could, if you go on the news, I don't know in everything, but basically speaking, everywhere you go now, the same damn thing comes up. Hey, I was just looking on map. I went on Google Maps yesterday to see something. First thing you see, coronavirus. Big thing in the middle of the map, Be cautioned, before you go near a phone up to see if we're just looking to see where someone was. Someone was living somewhere and they wrote to us, and I just wanted to see where it was. But, right in the middle of the map, coronavirus, blah, 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 It's like, corona conscious. And the Krishna conscious, you see Krishna's hand working behind it all. So then, when the gopis saw Uddhava, that Uddhava was representing Krishna, even in his bodily features. They thought that he must be a soul completely surrendered unto the personality of Godhead. So he may not have the physical body features that resemble Krishna or his associates, but at least the point is that the subtle body should be, on that platform. That's the idea of Krishna consciousness, that our subtle body, that we try to renovate, Prabhupada uses the word, renovate our consciousness, which is, let's say, shining or protracted on our subtle body, renovate that subtle body so that it does resemble the consciousness of the pure devotees, or the consciousness in one sense of Krishna's spiritual consciousness of doing everything for Krishna's pleasure. But unfortunately we haven't quite achieved it yet. They began to contemplate, who is this boy who looks just like Krishna? Who is he? He has the same eyes, here it says eyes, like lotus petals. The same raised nose and beautiful face. And he is smiling in the same way. Maybe somebody can remember to check the Krishna book, any new version of the Krishna book. Do they have one? Oh, that was the Krishna book you checked, isn't it? That's the new version. Interesting. Who is this boy who looks just like Krishna? He has the same eyes, like lotus petals, the same raised nose and beautiful face. Everyone in the material world tries to, they would like to think that they could also imitate Krishna. They may not be anywhere near able to, but some people may be, relatively speaking, considered beautiful, and they try to maintain the beauty, and they'll do anything they can sometimes, even in old age, to try to maintain their beauty, isn't it? I mean, I guess beauty is in the eye of the perceiver, but many people like that, and they're putting all these things to make their eyes look like this, and their nose to look like that. They even have operations to try to make it the way they like it to be their own little Krishnas, etc. They like to decorate their babies. Everything is like this. It's a perverted reflection of the truth, the beauty of Krishna. And why are all the pure devotees of the Lord, they're so beautiful also? Why? Because they exist for the pleasure of Krishna. And naturally their forms manifest out of love. They're not sort of born out of some, seminal discharge from some genes which we get from some male and female, and they're hard luck, Your mum and dad didn't have a very good set of genes, so you haven't got one either. It doesn't come like that, It's out of loving affection. Automatically the body which will please Krishna is manifested according to one's nature. So on it goes. Beautiful pastime. He has where are we now? In all respects, they said, this boy is resembling Krishna, Shama Sundar, the beautiful, dark boy. Shama, what does Shama Sundar mean?
Beautiful black.
Beautiful blackish personality or form. We don't always conceive of black, some people do, but generally black is not considered the most beautiful of colors. If you ask people what your favorite color is, some people will say black. But unless it's changed, when we used to do these things, very few people used to say black.
In this version it said the beautiful blackish boy.
It says the same thing here, doesn't it? What did it say here? In all respects, he is resembling Krishna Shamsundar, the beautiful dark boy. He's a dark boy. He's dark, he's blackish. Yeah, there's lots of little things like this, and I'm not going to get into it. Certain members of our Krishna Conscious Society get into all these things. He's a dark boy. Well, leave it to others. I'm not going to bother about that. We know what it means. He's a beautiful dark boy, blackish color. Sometimes Shama literally usually it means blackish. Usually. So whatever it is, he's beautiful. He looks black to me. I don't know if I'm colorblind. He looks black from here. He's black, is he? Okay. Oh, he's a stone. No, he's not a stone. Because of our stone hearts, we might see him as a stone. But whatever it is, he'll manifest. As Prabhupada said one time, when devotees were asking, why is Krishna green? Why is he blue? Why is he black? Why is he white? Why is he this? Why is he that? Prabhupada said he's reciprocating with his devotees who like these various forms and colors. So Krishna manifests various colors to please his devotees. As the devotees do that to please Krishna, it's reciprocal. And that can change. He's not locked up. This particular form, Shamsundar, is blackish color. Very dark. Sometimes it's said like a dark thundercloud or deep dark rain cloud, monsoon cloud. Blackish, bluish kind of color. Kind of a deep blue-black kind of color. So in one sense, you could say both of them have their justification here. But whatever. So, a beautiful form. Blackish, beautiful dark boy. And generally blackish is not always considered in the material world as the most beautiful. People will say, what is your favorite color?
Black.
Is it yours, his favorite color, black? Nowadays it's quite popular. We see a lot of people wearing black.
Yeah, it's true.
People walking around in black, especially young people walking around in black. Many of them are negative about their concept or perception of life as well. They have a very negative, kind of hopeless idea about what life's purpose is. They call them emos. Emos, the young teenagers. They're more or less died out, but they're still around in maybe undefined ways. And some of them are called goths. They're like the real full-on ones who are really into black. Everything's like negative.
There's also the punk.
Punks also mostly go blackish. They're a little more, I would say a little bit more elevated in consciousness, a little bit more, that way, and generally speaking. Not so negative. They want change for the positive more, the punks usually. And anyway, back to the point. If someone asked us, what color do you like, what would you say? Dynatite Prabhu? What's your favorite color? Black. Oh, come on. Everyone's going to say black now. But, by nature, before you became, blue. Okay, blue. Your favorite color?
I would say light pink.
Light pink? Okay, interesting.
I like green blue.
Green blue. Oh, yesterday's Yesterday, just recently, the green-blue outfit, maybe it wasn't, I can't remember which day, that beautiful green-blue outfit the deities have. Absolutely stunning. Gorgeous. Haribo, Charles. Hare Krishna. Is that Charles? I can't see in the center. Okay. Haribo. What's your favorite color?
I was going to say also this peacock blue-green.
There you go. Anyway, whatever it is, we all got, our favorite colors, huh?
Yours?
Well, it used to be blue. But then it kind of transformed in between blue and purple. I love purple tints, purplish tints, blue purplish tints. But then I started to like all colors. I never was much into red. Red was never a color I really was attracted to. Neither black, but neither green specifically, but more on the bluey kind of purpley color, yeah, more so. Interesting, huh? They say that they are spiritual colors, more on the spiritual side, blue, purple, more spiritual
colors. Blue for the boys, pink for the girls.
Oh, that's in terms of material.
Blue is very popular.
Very popular, yeah.
So Krishna also.
Pardon?
In that sense.
Huh?
Krishna's color also is popular.
Yeah, it's also bluish, bluish. But from the aural point of view, bluey purple is considered to be a spiritual aura. So, but Krishna's transcendental.
Beyond all colors?
He's beyond everything. I mean, everything rests in Krishna. He can do anything he likes. All colors are there. Just like in a rainbow, probably often says, all amazing thing, a rainbow, and all the different colors are there. It's so beautiful. So it's not one or the other. All the colors, when they're harmoniously combined, all the moods, all the pastimes, everything, when they're harmonious, it creates unending pleasure, unending bliss. It's when disharmony is there. If, for instance, with colors, you say, I like blue, I don't like blue, I like orange, or some colors. And some people don't like the combination of orange with, and then you both push it in there, and it becomes incompatible. And in different people, compatibility will be different. Compatibility is you could say, the entire nature of spirituality is being compatible. For the soul to become compatible. In this world, there's not really compatibility. The soul's nature is different to the material energy. We can certainly start to work in the direction of compatibility by connecting everything to Krishna. But those who've forgotten Krishna, those who are in this material world, there's no real compatibility. We're trying everything we can to get that compatibility, adjusting this, adjusting that, trying to find a perfect situation. But there's no utopia in this world. It doesn't exist. We don't belong in this world. Simple as the real thing is, we just don't belong here. No matter how much we adjust it, it doesn't fit. It may fit for a second, and then the next second it doesn't. We don't simply belong in this world. It's an incompatible place for the soul. Whereas in the spiritual world, everything is compatible because everything is related to Krishna. Everything is perfectly balanced. Everything is in perfect harmony for the pleasure of Krishna. So everything, whether it's the colors, the sounds, the activities, the forms, everything is all compatible. Within this world, what is compatible for me is not compatible for you. You like green and I like blue. And you like black. Even religions are like that. There was one famous poet, I think it was George Bernard Shaw, or no, it was Sachs. I think it was Sachs, John Sachs. We both read the Bible day and night, and I read white and you read black. No, the other way around. Night, white. I read black and you read white. Same book, but we get a different meaning because we're incompatible. We're in disharmony is there. So you don't see it in harmony. Some people will surrender to one, surrender to the other, accept some authority. But we have to hear from a transcendental platform to know exactly what is the actual, you could say, compatibility, how this is really compatible to the circumstance, and not just judging it according to our circumstance, but judging it from a platform of transcendence, of what is favorable to help to bring the situation to one of compatibility. And that's the whole process of devotional service. The you could say the thread in the nectar of devotion is leading to that, leading to rasa or relationship which is compatible. By regulating our senses, start freeing ourselves from seeing the world from my conditioned perspective, starting to see things from the pure platform. And not just following somebody who sees it from the pure platform. That's the preliminary necessity, and will always be there, but one should also come to the point of seeing it from the pure platform too. That takes time, when the heart is freed of all anarthas. All anarthas. So the gopis, they don't have any anarthas, they have only arthas, unending emotions which bring pleasure to Krishna. And we have unending emotions which displease Krishna in this world. Because we're seeing ourselves. They're only seeing Krishna in the center. Of course you could say they're seeing Nanda and Yasoda in the center here, but Krishna and his devotees are inseparable. Inseparable. And when they come together, what do they remember? Krishna. Krishna in the center. The whole association is based on that principle. Krishna in the center. Not our conditional lives in the center. Oftentimes we associate, and we're even in our, ISKCON or whatever it is, any group, that oftentimes the condition that we have come from, and so that's why we have friends and enemies, because some people we can share our conditioning in a pleasing way with them, and some people we cannot, because they've got a different conditioning, a different idea about the whole thing. But both are wrong in the real sense of the term. And the association should be that which evokes our remembrance of Krishna. And not just because we were both into something when we were young, not even just because we necessarily, of course in daily dealings you have to do that, but not just because we have something in common from the conditional point of view and think it should be this way or that way. That goes on, is inevitable. But the real association is when Krishna is in the center, no matter what our condition is, and the benefit of that is if we're willing to put aside our false ego, to see that, or allow that to take place, that our hearts, our consciousness, our minds become purified of this tendency to act based on our perverted conditional situations. So to change that, we take directions, guidelines from scriptures, guru, shastras, sadhu, who don't see it from the same way that we do. They see it from Krishna's perspective, and they're trying to help us to at least act in that way, even if we don't think in that way. And when the thinking and acting are not in sync with each other, then we complain, I don't like this, I don't think like this is right, and on we go like spoilt kiddies. Not, understanding this is really for our welfare. Krishna is trying to remove the root, the false ego. Okay, the false ego manifests in the form of consciousness which becomes attached to the mind's madness, and the intelligence constantly, subtle body, constantly try to fulfill these crazy madnesses. Because the false ego identifying with these crazy madnesses, our consciousness in this way is completely shrouded in the clouds like this, is our present situation. The pure devotees, they are trying to help us to adjust this by engaging us in various activities, in various ways, which will be step by step. We go through, probably a few ups and downs, and but eventually the idea is that we realize and we come out of it. We come out of it. Not that we simply adjust things. The whole purpose of this movement is to get out of the material state of consciousness and to awaken our Krishna consciousness. Only by the mercy of those who have it can we have any hope that that may take place. And then we have to be, because they're not going to say something which is inappropriate, but we have to be willing to apply that medicinal direction in our lives if we want to see change of heart, change of consciousness. So I guess our time is, we've got a few minutes left, we'll read a little bit more. And then we can truly, instead of being grief-stricken simply from the material perspective, which inevitably is there as long as we're in contact with the material world, but it should be from a higher perspective. So a pure devotee is grief-stricken for every living entity because we're forgetting Krishna. And thus we're suffering in this material world. Not just because we haven't got enough food to stick in the belly, or enough money in the bank, or to buy our beer, cigarettes, and all the other rubbish that we spend it on. Not that type of, feeling of compassion. It's actually another form of Maya. But compassion because the living entity has forgotten Krishna. Everyone who's forgotten Krishna is in an unfortunate situation, even if they are the most rich person, the most knowledgeable person materially, doesn't make any difference. It means in fact worse because their karma is being accumulated on a greater scale. They were very anxious to know about Krishna. Thus they talked among themselves about Krishna, and because they were simply unsophisticated village girls, they surrounded Uddhava. They didn't even think. They don't want to hear about Krishna. Male, female, whatever. I just want to hear about Krishna. Someone's come to tell us about Krishna. And that's all that matters. All social etiquette, everything goes out the door. As we see in the Krishna book many times, whether it's the wives of the Brahmins, or whether it's the married gopis, or the unmarried gopis, the young ones, whatever it is, everything goes out the window. It's an English statement. They forget about it, let it go. When Krishna's there, he's always there. They're always taking an opportunity to literally go to where Krishna is. In their hearts, he's always there. In their heart, they're always absorbed. But here again, they're running. They're going to see Uddhava. They're gathered around, eager beavers to hear about Krishna. When Srimad Bhagavatam starts, sometimes the numbers go up, and sometimes the numbers go down, depending on various factors, but we're not always so eager to hear and chant about Krishna. We've been in the Zoom classes this week, we've been hearing about that. Their intensive eagerness, the sages of Naimisharanya. We are eager to hear about the transcendental appearances of the Lord and His name, His form, His pastimes. We're eager to hear about them. Please tell us about Krishna. They want to hear, they're eager to hear. They're not saying, oh my God, this is boring. What next? Can't you talk about something else? No, they're eager to hear again and again and again, over and over. We want to hear it. We want to drink it through our ears. We want to drink this Krishna Katha through our ears. They're very eager to hear. This is eligibility. Of course, many other things may help to prepare us for this, but ultimately this is the eligibility to transcend, to return back to Godhead, to enter the spiritual dimension. Is this eagerness to hear about Krishna from the right source, from the pure devotees. So they're very eager to hear Uddhava. Now, what is he going to say about Krishna? What's he going to tell us? Maybe they're in anticipation because it may not be pleasing to their ears what he's about to tell them. That remains to be seen or heard. They wanted to talk with him very freely. Oh, missed an important sentence here. The gopis understood that Uddhava had a message from Krishna. They became very happy and called him to a secluded place to sit down. It's a special private message. We want to hear it. And it's not meant for everyone else's ears. This is for us. They wanted to talk with him very freely and did not want to be embarrassed before unknown persons. It's confidential. When you have a confidential message, we don't want anyone and everyone, especially people we don't know, standing around. We see this with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy. And it got a little bit too confidential. They stopped because it would be misunderstood by the Brahmins. They couldn't understand how this, Ramananda Roy, who's coming from a low-class background, is embracing a sannyasi? What is this? This is breaking all the rules of social behavior. So they restrained themselves, what to speak of the topics of their conversation, which were completely beyond and above any capacity of such Brahmins to be able to even comprehend. It's like Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, we've been reading Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav recently, and how, the topics, Bhakti Siddhanta, even with his own disciples, would rarely go beyond their basic adhikar to discuss most elevated topics. What to speak of with ordinary scholars from other parts of the world who couldn't at all grasp, totally incapable of grasping the understanding of, actual what love of God means. Completely incapable. No ability whatsoever, mostly. Anyway, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj would reveal what was necessary, but that doesn't mean that that's the limit of it. That's just according to the... So, like that, accordingly, the pure devotees give instruction. They give guidelines according to the level of the receiver, so that they may mature to a more mature stage. They began to welcome him with polite words in great submissiveness. They said, "We know that you are a most confidential associate of Krishna, and that he has therefore sent you to Vrindavan to give solace to his father and mother. We can understand that family affection is very strong. Even great sages who have taken to the renounced order of life cannot give up family members. Krishna has therefore sent you to his father and mother. Otherwise he has no further business in Vrindavan." They don't see any reason he's come other than that, just to give solace to his mother and father, not to us, because we're not family members. We're his lovers, but we're not family members. He's just sent Uddhava to give solace to the family members, that's all. But they're kind of eager anticipation. He is now in town. What does he have to know about Vrindavan village or the cows' pasturing grounds? These things are not at all useful for Krishna now, because he is a man in the city. He's become a city boy, no longer interested in the country. We see that today. Almost everybody, of the young people, grow up in cities, or even if in the country, it's just a country city life. Televisions and all nonsense, mobiles and all the stuff they relate with, all the modern technology. And you ask anyone to, go out in the fields to, do some basic farming or growing things. For most people, it's just like, what? I mean, maybe they do it for a little bit once in a while, but as their lifetime occupation, it's like, whoa, very rare. They don't want to do that. Even if they got a degree in agricultural. One of our devotees in Malaysia got an agricultural degree. All that meant is he sat behind a computer all day long, organizing a no-person farm. Not even a single person on the farm. All done by mechanistic means. Milking the cows, all by machines. Everything by machines. Automatic gate, they would be automatically going into this field and that field by computer. Guy sitting in the office in Christchurch until the earthquake came along, working on his computer, organizing the farms with no men on board. And there's machines that sync to them, there's machines which immediately test the milk, and then when the cows finish milking the milk, the cow goes left or right, depending on, his condition of health. So many things that stick in him so he moves. All sorts of things going on. They separate the cows, they notice their psychologists, they keep certain cows apart from others. Some are bullies, some are weaklings. They keep them apart so they don't come in at the same time, otherwise the bullies gives the softies a hard time. They got it all worked out, it's all by computer. Mechanistic society. What to do? This modern age, simple living, the foundation for spiritual growth, simple living and high thinking. But today it's a little far from the mark. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Time for Prashadam. Hare Bo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
I even heard of Bhakti Mark Swami. I heard a class this morning. He said when he was small, his father would wake him up at 5, and they would go and milk the cows.
Wow.
Every morning.
In Canada?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I don't know, but I guess.
I think he's from Canada, I'm not sure. Yes, and some of you may have had that experience that your parents were on the land, milking cows still. We were a city, I was brought up in a town, not a city, a small town. But even still, my father had to have an allotment. He had this small piece of land on the outside of the town. Every weekend we would be there, well, at least when the time was supposed to be there. I don't think it was all year round, mostly in the summer and autumn. We'd be there spring, summer, autumn, growing things, picking things, eating things straight out of the garden, of course, like sweet peas and things like that. And fresh, sweet carrots. Carrots were so sweet. I still remember it now. They were like, whoa, so sweet. Straight out the garden. Such a simple, and we didn't know much, but it was very simple. But he had his allotment. People were still connected more. And maybe now it'll become like that too. Let's see what Krishna arranges. Maybe there's a hidden plan going on here. It would be nice if it is. But if we can't do it here, we can't expect anyone else to do it. We've got like, how many acres or how many hectares? 80 hectares? Hectares, yeah. About 80 or 180 acres of land here. If we can't do it, well, how do you expect other people to do it? Especially we're preaching the highest ideals. They come here, we're not even growing any very well. Some devotees are. They're doing it flat out. In general, we're not growing most of our food here. In general. So people, let's see what Krishna's plans are. City boys. I want to do computer work. I want to do something else all the time. Go out, do this and that. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna.